Having anger towards someone is a very heavy burden to carry, and it's what continues to keep you living in a victim mentality and is also preventing you from having empathy towards others and even yourself. And ultimately, it's what's preventing you from moving into this next chapter where there's many new opportunities on the other side if you can just escape living from the past. So, what makes being able to forgive someone very difficult? Um, this makes me think back to the first time that I fully realized and learned why forgiveness is such a huge strength to have, a huge skill to have in order to be able to move forward in life. And this goes back to when I was in my early 20s. I was dating a girl at the time for about a year, and I had to go away to the Philippines to go to my grandma's funeral. And at the time, I had no idea. But when I called her from the Philippines, I started talking to her, said I loved her, I missed her. I said I was gonna get her this Adidas bag. And all of a sudden, she mentions the name of my best friend, like asking like, hey, like so and so. She thought I was my best friend calling her. And turns out that while I was away at my grandma's funeral in the Philippines, there was some messing around with her and my best friend. And as you can imagine, I was absolutely livid, like being in a way for a specific reason. This wasn't a vacation. I was going there for a sad reason. And while I'm away behind my back, my best friend at the time and my girlfriend decide to mess around. So I was very angry, and as soon as I got back, you can imagine what ensued. Because we were young, we had a lot of similar friends as well, a similar group of circles of friends. So it was inevitable that we would see each other again. And I remember there was this one time when we're at a nightclub and we saw each other, and there was an altercation that was taken outside, and it almost ended up in a physical altercation, thank God. But it actually was between my brother and my now ex-girlfriend at the time. And it just got super ugly. That was about like 3 months after I got back. And for the next 2 years, I held this grudge in my head, this anger towards them, telling myself if ever I saw them again, I'm just gonna like beat the shit out of this guy, and I'm gonna tell this bitch off, you know, about why she shouldn't have screwed me over and how she's missing out, all that kind of stuff. And so for 2 years, I would literally everywhere I went, to the mall, to the clubs, out hanging out with friends, and any place that I went, I would always be looking out for these two, just thinking about what I would do when I would see them again. And funny enough, a couple years later, I was at a Starbucks and I was in line, and something told me to just look behind me. And all of a sudden, I looked back, and there she was, the ex that messed around with my best friend. And I know she saw me because she looked up. She did one of those like a double take, and just she knew that it was me. And what was odd was when I saw her and I knew that she saw me, I thought that I still had anger, but something in me just said, you know what, just let it go. It was very odd. And so I went to go get my coffee. I was putting cream and sugar on the side, and I was kind of like waiting to see her. As soon as she got her coffee, something in me just told me just go up to her and talk to her. And as soon as I started to approach her, I could tell like she was just getting ready for the worst. And I said, hey, how's it going? It's been a while. And for some reason, I just blurted out, hey, I just want you to know I'm not mad anymore. I forgive you. I don't want you to think that I have it out for you, because I really don't. And just that was the first time in my entire life that I did that. And the body reaction, the physical reaction, the look in her eyes, it was like this sense of relief on her side too. And for me, it was the first time that I actually felt like this weight lifted off of my shoulders. And it was like, it was relieving. And, we were able to actually have a quick conversation, talk to each other. And, she was going to school at the time. And at the end of it all, I wished her well. We gave each other a hug and we parted ways. And from that point onwards, I really thought about, like, man, how many other grudges, like, have I been carrying? And this is like in my early to mid 20s. Like, how many of these grudges have I been carrying, and that I can shed now and forgive? And so, throughout the remainder of my life, that's something that I tried to do. But for those of you who have gone through a significant breakup, especially in the cases of divorce, your ability to forgive is absolutely tested, because the judicial systems are not fair. And I had to face this situation again when I went through my own divorce about 4 years ago. And for those of you who have gone through something like that, it's one of the darkest places that you can be, because essentially, based on a decision that's mutually made, or that one person decides to make and the other person has to follow suit, because it takes two to tango, your life is now absolutely destroyed and changed for the worst and for the better. It's hard to see the better side, but you're absolutely devastated. And it's very easy to be on that side of blame, to feel like the victim. In my case, and a lot of men, we are pretty much at a disadvantage in those situations, because, again, the laws are not in your favor. You have to pay out of your ass in support payments. Sometimes you don't even get custody rights for your kids. I'm very lucky to get 50-50 custody, but essentially your whole life is completely in shambles. And so there was a lot of anger that I had towards my ex and my family, and I started to feel that heaviness again, more so than ever before. And it made it very difficult to just go through what I needed to go through in life, to go to work and stay positive and work through all of the stresses that come there, and also to be an amazing parent for my kids. I never was mean to my kids throughout that time, but it just made it that much harder to stay positive and to be the loving father that I needed to be. It was just very challenging, because you have this inner battle, and all of this weight, this burden of this anger that you're carrying. And so at one point, again, just thinking back about this past situation, I decided, you know what, I need to find a way to stop being angry, because first of all, regardless of whatever happened, my kids still need to have a mother in their life. And the last thing I want to do is do something that is going to impact their ability, their relationship with their mom, and also create a negative perception of what an amicable relationship looks like between two divorced parents. So it took a lot of work to forgive my ex about everything, about all the decisions that were made during negotiations. I had to forgive her about the fact, about the decision that we made together has put us in this position, has put me in a disadvantage for the next how many years. But also, I had to forgive her for the fact that she was only doing what she knew she could do in order to protect herself in that situation as well. And that's where, like, the empathy comes in. It's hard at times because you have so much anger. You just want to tell this person off how much they screwed you over. But if you take a moment to put yourself in their shoes, sometimes what seems like is a better life on the other side isn't necessarily true. Everybody has these silent battles that we're all going through. You don't know how hard, what the challenges are in their life. And because of that, you just want to be empathetic as much as you can. I truly, we all go through issues and battles within. And the last thing you want to do is be a contributor or adding on to the additional pressure and bullshit that we have to deal with on a everyday basis. And I knew that if I continued to be that way in myself and treated her as such, she wouldn't be a good parent for my good mother for my kids, and we wouldn't have a good relationship in front of my kids. So that took a lot to forgive her. I also had to forgive her family and her friends for literally choosing sides. That's something that you'll hear a lot of, especially in the space of people who are going through a divorce. It essentially causes a division, and it's very rare that you can see an amicable relationship between both sides after the fact. Typically, there's a lot of animosity. But I had to forgive them for doing what they needed to do to protect themselves, to protect their family, and to also side with someone who has been their child and their best friend since elementary school. Can't blame them for that, right? In the same way that my friends sided with me and my family sided with me. So once I started to take some steps to forgive the actions that put us in this position in the first place, I started to feel that weight being lifted off of my shoulders again. And it's to the point now where, we're amicable. It's a very diplomatic situation. We still do what we need to do in order for our kids to recognize us on our particular days. So Mother's Day, Father's Day just recently, Christmas and birthdays, things of that nature. We're both aligned in the sense that it's very important that our kids know that those are important holidays to celebrate with family, regardless if their mom and dad are not together anymore. And we're able to work a lot of things out in terms of our arrangement. Whenever we need flexibility, we can do that. But it all starts with being able to forgive one another in order to stop living in this victim mentality and to stop living in the past. And it's hard sometimes, because I know sometimes when you think about forgiving someone, you may think, oh, well, if I forgive them, they've won, right? We have this mentality in society where you need to be up here and they're down here, or someone needs to win all the time. In a lot of these cases, it's not even about winning, because what are you actually winning? Think about it. Nobody's winning anything when there's anger and despair and divide between two people, and you carry that mentality through the remainder of your life. It's a heavy burden to carry, so nobody's really winning. The other thing that you also that may also come up is, well, if I forgive this person, does that mean that they get off scot-free and I have to be friends with them again? No, not at all. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. In fact, it means that you remember and you acknowledge what happened, but are able to choose a different path, so that way you can grow from it and also find new opportunities in terms of how do you interact with that person. If you do want to be friends with them again, that's completely up to you, but there's no requirement for you to be friends or to hang out with them again. In the case of my ex's family, yeah, we're amicable. Every time I see them, I'm always saying hi. They still tell me that they love me. And that we still wish each other happy birthday. We reach out on holidays, totally fine. But I don't hang out with them, nor do they reach out to hang out with me, and that's okay. We're okay with that. So you don't have to be friends with them or hang out with them again. And again, it doesn't mean you forget about what's happened at all. And forgiveness is truly a strength that you can leverage to now finally get out of living in the past, remove that burden from your shoulders, and now be ready for all of the wonderful things that are happening, that are waiting for you on the other side in this next chapter of your life. And I've seen it go the opposite way, where the inability to forgive has a very negative effect on the dynamic between divided families. And I saw this firsthand about a couple months ago at a karate tournament. I'll just say, my nephew was not able to win any gold medals. And this was a nephew this is in the same family. There was another divorce, but it didn't go as amicably as me and my ex. And so my nephew didn't win any gold medals. He was absolutely devastated, was crying with his mom and dad. And I was helping the grandma get down the stairs because we were sitting on the stanchions. And I told her, hey, so-and-so's crying, like, are you going to go over there and console him? And I was like shocked at what she said. She goes, oh no, I can't be near her. But I'll wait until she goes away and I'll go see my grandson. And I was like, wait a second, like your grandson is at a time of need. He's devastated. It would be absolutely helpful to see his grandma, but yet you're letting your anger, your ego get in the way from doing something that is absolutely needed from your grandson at that child. He needs consoling and he needs his family support to re-encourage him, and you're letting that get in the way. That was one of the saddest things that I saw, and I felt bad for my nephew because of and that, like, just thinking about, if this is what's happening now, I can't imagine other examples where this is happening with their family, because that dynamic is there, and that's not something I want for my family. So if you can find the ability to forgive, it will remove that burden and it will free you from living in this victim mindset and from the shackles of despair once and for all. And it's such a relief to get this burden lifted off your shoulders. I hope this is helpful. If you have other ways or other examples you'd like to share of when you've forgave someone and how it was life-changing, please share in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories. Otherwise, thank you for watching my video. I hope it finds you at the right time, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Peace out.